This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here in Yeshiva Samanavshi here in Yerushalayim Kodesh. We are located on Rehov Zikr Yaakov number 6 in the Chanech Yeshiva's Beit Knesset, not too far from the central bus station, so you can walk and drive and bus, and if you're coming from far, certainly fly in to join us for our Shirin. And we're learning Pirkei Avos now. We're going to go and discuss what the Rav Barton Nura has to say about the Anshe Knesset Gedola. The beginning of Pirkei Avos begins as follows. We've been discussing this last week or so. Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai, Mosra Yeshua. Yeshua was a Canim. It was a Canim with Nevim, Mosra. They transferred the Torah that was received from Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai from Kadosh Baruch Hu to the Anshe Knesset HaGedola. So let's focus on what the Rav Barton has to say about the Anshe Knesset HaGedola. That's the Rav Barton, you should have it there. In that edition is in the back. You have it. There are two prints of the Avos, ones with Rashi and Rabbi Yon and the Rambam, and then the second repeat is the Rav Barton. Okay. Any volunteers to read?
אנשי כנסת הגדולה. 120 זקנים היו. זרובבל, שריה, ראליה. מרדכי בלשן, שהיו בימי עזרא כשעלו מן הגולה בבית השני, ובכללם חגי, זכריה, מלאכי, נחמיה, בן חכליה וחבריהם.
This is the more likely the lineage of the Anshe Knesset Gadol, that it was consisted of 120 Zakanim. Oh, yeah, exactly. There you are. See it, Rachel? Yeah. So why is it significant for us to be taught who was in the Anshe Knesset Gadol? There was Zakanim, right? As previously we saw that the Zakanim gave it over the Torah to the Nevi'im, and the Nevi'im gave it over to the Anshe Knesset Gedola. So based on this Parah, you basically have a question, right? Which the Maharal Prague asks in a different way. If we look again at the structure of the Mishnah, Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai, so that's one level. Right? The direct transfer that Moshe Rabbeinu received directly from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right, and he transferred that Torah to Yehoshua, and then Yeshua to the Zakim, and the Zakim to the Nevim. Now the Maharal Prague asked the question, in the Dora, we're obviously talking about the time of Yeshua, so that was a time, take a look at the previous Rav Barton, the Zakim. What is that? Go ahead and read that for us, please.
ימים אחרי ישוע, ואותם הזקנים וזקנים אחרים עד שהגיעו לתחילתם של נביאים שהם אלי הכהן ושמואל רמתי.
So what are these Zakanim? These were the Zakanim, according to the Rav Nura, those were the original Zakanim that Yeshua had given the Torah that he received from Moshe Rabbeinu, and they were the ones who outlived Yehoshua. So they were the ones that remained. They could have perhaps been in the original Zakanim that were with us in the Dora Hamidbar. Yeah, and they
were in the Dora Midbar.
Excuse me?
The one from the Dora Midbar. The ones from the
Shivim Zakanim. There was specific Shivim Zakanim.
Youngsters.
Oh, they could. How depending on. Yeah, at this point after Yehoshua, right? I'd have to check and see Yeshua how long he lived. That's not so hard to find out. We can find out. But they very well could have been Zakanim that, as the Rav Barton says, they outlived Yehoshua. Mm-hmm. So they were the ones that had received it from Yehoshua, and they gave it on, as the Mishnah says, to Nevi'im. Now here's the Maharal's question. It says there were Nevi'im concurrently to the Zakanim in the Midbar, and also in the door of Yehoshua, also Nevi'im, right? So the Maharal's dealing with the question: is this a separate transfer of one stage, a stage of Zakanim, and then to another stage of Nevi'im, because we had, as the Rav Bertanor is learning, it seems to be so. It seems to be there was Zikanim, up until Zikanim, and then the time of the Nevi'im began, right? The Tchilasam Shel Nevi'im, that began with Eli Cohen and Shmuel Aramasi. That was the beginning of the Nevi'im. So it's, according to the Rav Bertanor, two separate stages. A stage of, the first stage was Moshe Rabbeinu, second stage Yehoshua, third stage was Zikanim, and the fourth stage was Nevi'im, and after the Nevi'im, the fifth stage was the Ansei Knesset Gedolah.
Can Zikanim be greater than Nevi'im?
Excuse me?
Can the Zikanim be greater than
Nevi'im?
Why not?
Oh.
They may not have been Nevi'im, that didn't mean they weren't.
They weren't Nevi'im? They had to be Nevi'im, otherwise they wouldn't be bigger.
Why? What do you want to do with the other?
Huh?
What do you want to do with the other? You could be a gadol in learning and not be a Navi. The passing over the Torah was based on...
It's going down.
But a Navi is a different...
There must have been Nevi'im also. If they were Nevi'im, but it was definitely Nevi'im, no?
No.
No?
Also, so I think what Rakim is asking the question, we see that we know there's such a process as Yeridus Adoros. And if this, and that's a fact, Yeridus Adoros. So, in terms of one generation being greater, usually the following generation is not going to be as great as the next generation. So if this is a generational decline, right? So then the Nevi'im, right, should be less than the Zikanim. Now, how can that be? There is a Chazal which we could spend time looking into. The Chazal say, the Gemara says, Chacham is Aidif Minavi. A sage, someone who's wise in Torah, a Chacham is more advantageous than a prophet. Okay? Basically, we can go into a few different explanations about that. I'm not prepared to go into the whole details right now, but that's something related to this which we should branch off on it for a day or two. Basically, as one of my Rebbein, Rav Chaim Dolotuski, Zitzal taught me, Chacham has an advantage over a Navi in the following way. A Navi is given prophecy, right, when he receives it from Hashem. When Hashem decides that he's going to get his prophecy, right, he's going to get his prophecy. Except for Moshe Rabbeinu, who could come and deal with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak, any time that he felt necessary, and Hashem would be there waiting and ready for Moshe Rabbeinu. But that's why Moshe Rabbeinu was the Av Nevi'im. He had that full advantage which no other Navi, even Avraham Avinu, the highest Nevi'im in our history, didn't have that advantage. But a Chacham, right, through his knowledge, right, he can delve into the aspects of Torah that are necessary to tell us what to do anytime he
can try to fix it.
And what do you mean?
If he says something that's supposed to be a chorban or something like that, so it's a chacham, maybe he can try to fix it. And then he gets
right. A Navi, so to speak, is a receptacle, right? Is a receptacle. Whereas a chacham, he's putting out. He's not receiving. I mean, he does have Ruach Kodesh. He does have Siyata D'Shmaya and all these things as well, right? But he does have an advantage over the Navi, right? That through his understanding of Torah, if it's pure and absolute and perfect, then he'll be able to guide us. Meaning both the Nevi'im, the prophets, and the Chachamim have the same goal, to lead Klal Yisrael. Right? So in terms of leading Klal Yisrael, a Chacham has advantages over a prophet in terms of leading the Jewish people, because he can delve into the Torah and tell us what to do based on his knowledge.
Can a Chacham be also a Nevi?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
use it and accuse this or that.
That's really one of the questions that the Maharal Prague is dealing with, because really it's impossible really to be a prophet without being a Chacham. You've got to have if we looked at spent some time mentioning about the Mesilas Yesharim, it's based on the Bryce of Rabbi Pinibin. Torah may be Zerezus, right? Torah is the beginning of all the stepwise, the ladder of reproving, which finally culminates in Ruach HaKodesh and finally to the Samesim. That always is based on Torah. For each level it has to be Torah. So it's almost impossible let me put it this way. In general, a prophet will be a Chacham. but not necessarily. You see, Bilam was a prophet, brilliant, and he certainly wasn't a chacham, right? Certainly wasn't a chacham. I mean, in terms of Torah knowledge, right?
I know, it was a goy.
Yeah, was he good? Right.
It was Torah is Chaimita.
Yeah, right. And so you have the ability of being a prophet without being a chacham. But at the time, this is what I think what the Maharal in Prague is dealing with in a certain aspect, that if you say, like the Rav Bartanura, that it was a generational process of the third stage being the Zikanim and the fourth stage being the Nevi'im, so that means that there weren't coexisting Nevi'im and Zikanim at the same time, because it's from one generation to the next. But the Maharal of Prague seems to be understanding that really that it wasn't necessarily generation to generation, it was like they were coexisting within the same generations, and some with the transfer went from Navi to Navi, some went from Zakin to Zakin, right? So, and not only that, because the Rav Bartanura says, right, how do you understand, right, if we say that let me ask you a question. Based on the Mishnah, if we say that there's Yeridus Adoros and it's a generational process of decline, so there were the Zikanim and then there were Nevi'im, right? So at the time of the Nevi'im, were there any more Zikanim? Just logically speaking, what would you say?
Which probably didn't carry over. At some point, they stopped being Zikanim.
Oh, so and then Nevi'im took over from them.
What's Nevi'im? What's this? What you're talking about? Everybody there's Klal said everybody was getting Nevi'im.
No. First of all, obviously.
What's Canaan? What's Canaan?
Okay, good.
The wise man.
Okay, not only that.
Everybody's wise in those days.
Not only that. Look. What's the first definition of the Anshe Knesset Gedola? Me'ah ve'esrim zikanim. There are 120 zikanim.
But they were the Zikanim in that day.
Oh, so they were called zikanim in that day. So what is it?
Generation has zikanim.
So what's the
What's the miyuchad about these?
Oh, that is the question. What's miyuchad about these zikanim? The zikanim that Yoshua gave the Torah that he was given from Moshe Rabbeinu, right? What's unique about those zikanim? So the Rav Bartner says basically just one thing. He says Osum zikanim, right? Zikanim. So he says Sha'arichu Yamim Achre Yeshua. Those are the zikanim, right? That were Ma'arich Yamim after Yeshua.
That means they had been around. They probably had heard Moshe. So these are the last of the people who were around during the time of Moshe, and they outlived Yeshua, and they were that remnant was the Canaan. But you're talking about the period of Shoftim, the period of from Yeshua all the way up to Eli Cohen is the whole period of Shoftim.
Yes, exactly.
Which lasted several hundred years.
Yeah, it was a very long time, very long time.
So it's clear that at some point there was nobody around who had been around in the times of Moshe or even in the times of Yeshua.
Yeah, obviously, I mean,
Okay. And we're not yet at the time of Eli Cohen, so some people during the period of Shoftim had to have been in the knowledgeable people in that generation, but they were still working. It could be that they were still working on on the way things had been handed down from Moshe, and they weren't necessarily receiving nevuah from Hashem about it. They had they had sat and learned again. Yahushua learned from Moshe, and he sat in base registry, he taught everybody else, and that went on for several generations until again until the time Hashem said nevuah needs to come in because we need some strengthening.
Right. So again, you have to be really expert in the not just history as being dry history. You have to understand exactly what was occurring in the transfer of Torah from one generation to the next.
Yeah, Chacham is a different Navi. And why did they have Nevi'im? They should have gave from Zakin to Zakini, and Zakin to Zakini.
Right. So
what was the Nevi'im?
So sometimes, right? Sometimes when a Navi speaks in the name of Hashem, right? Like Yirmiyah came and he said there's going to be a korban, because to see the future, a Chacham may not necessarily see the future. I mean, look, jump to the sixth parak. Let's jump to the sixth parak for a moment, right? And the very beginning of the sixth parak. Because there's no Rabbi Noy. Because no, it's in here, the front part. Because as I explained, it's not Mishnayos, it's Tosefta. It's Tosefta. Therefore, they don't have a Rabbi Noy. It's a parish Mishnayos. Rabbi Noy is a parish Mishnayos. Yisrael, you want to read the sixth parak? Yisrael. Go to the beginning. Go all the way to the beginning. Oh yeah, right. You're right. Excuse me. There you are. Go ahead. Read. Now you're gonna. They speak about some of the qualities of a person who's a chacham. Okay.
Shana Chachamim B'Lashon HaMishnah. The Chachamim learned in the language of the Mishnah. Baruch Shabacha B'Hem Mishmasah. Blessed he the Tlazim, the Mishnahs.
And their teachings, lessons.
Teachings.
Rabbi Meir Omer.
Rabbi Meir would say, Kol ha'Isik b'Torah. Anybody that's involved in Torah, Yishma for its sake, is Zocher to Varim Habi, is Zocher to many things. Lo oid ela shekol ha'olam kula gidahu lo. That the whole world, it's enough for him.
Right. So Rabbi Meir says, Kol ha'Isik b'Torah Lishma, Zocher to Varim Habi. And Lamaisa, the Mefarshim will say it now because it'll be a while till we get to the sixth paragraph. The Furst say that we're not told about Devarim Harbe. What's going to come now is Vlo Od, and beyond that, even more than the Devarim Harbe, is what comes now. Okay, so what the Devarim Harbe, we're not going to go into that. But what's revealed to us in the Mishnah is as follows: Vlo Od, Ela, number one, Shekol Olam Kulo Kadayu Loi. Number two, right? Beloved, he's called beloved.
Loves Hashem, loves the people. Masamach is makes Hashem happy. Masamach is makes people happy. Mabush Nova, his dress code is that of humility. The year on fears. Mach Sharta, the tzaddik. Mach Sharta.
So he's prepared to be a tzaddik.
Chassid means
devout person.
Rasha, straight, neman, and trustworthy. Of my rachtav and achet. He stays distant from being embarrassed. Karafta idas chus. Karafta means he's close.
Yeah, he's more towards the side of zechus, of merits. He's leaning towards being meritorious. So you can benefit from him eitzah. So this is one of the main points I wanted to stop at. That's why we're learning this now. From the chacham, right? Someone who's learned Torah Lishma, you can get eitzah from. Right? So we'll continue with this in a minute. I just want to stop for a moment. See, eitzah is like advice, right? But prophecy, the prophet is telling you the future. There's going to be such and such. So you have to do this and this and avert such and such. You have to do this, and something's going to happen good. There's going to be this. He's going to tell you the future. So that's because he's speaking directly as a conduit from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the message that Hashem wants to reveal to his people, right? But a chacham, you can go to him and you can get eitzah.
There's a story, I don't remember the whole story, about a teat, and he asks, I think it's kind of Purim, and he asks if it's from teat, this is from teat, you could shovel it, that's a chacham knows. See, they can
Oh, so continue on.
What does it mean?
You benefit from him by getting advice. You'll get salvations through him. You'll have bina, you'll have insights. In Gevurah you have might. Shenemar brings a pasuk. Go ahead.
שנאמר לי עצה וישוע. ומי advice was Yeshua me?
Salvation.
אני בן לי גבורה.
I'm insightful and I am mighty. Okay, continue.
ונעש לו מלכוס הגיס מלכוס. ומשאלה. על rulership וחיקור דין. What is the chikkur din?
He could, you'll be able to delve into into judgment.
Chikkur din. Magli lo Razi Torah.
Oh, this is the second thing I wanted to stop on here, right? And Megalim Razi Torah, they'll reveal to him the secret aspects of the Torah. Okay, so therefore he'll be able to, through his wisdom, he'll be able to see, right? He'll be able to see certain things, right? Which will not always be there. There's obviously a lot to talk about. Excuse me?
And we see that Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest of the Nevi'im.
Yes.
And of course he was a Talmid Chacham of Chacham, so good without question.
Mm-hmm.
But he's known as the greatest of the Nevi'im.
Yes.
And he needed this to bring the Torah.
Correct.
So we see the Navi's greater than a Zaken. ממי שזקן יכול להתמודד נגד משה?
So, again.
That's the C. The C. You see in the Nebuah,
No,
it's C.
Yeah. No,
It's the height of the greatness.
Correct. Very good.